Veronica and her sister Rebecca arrived within minutes of each other at the general hospital. Veronica was smaller than Rebecca, but was more vociferous. Apart from the difference in size, their personalities were completely different from the first day. Rebecca was plump, pretty, and contented. She smiled at everyone, including the flies on the wall. Her sister was skinny and avid. In spite of polishing off her own food and most of her sisters, she remained confoundingly lean. It was mystifying. So when the twins were 3 months old, they were taken to the doctor to clarify the matter, but nothing wrong could be found with either. At 5 months, Vera sat up on her own while her sister remained content to lie on her back for another 2 months, by which time Vera was crawling all over the house. Becky decided that this was too much and tried to imitate her sister. She succeeded fairly well, except that her progression was backwards. She just couldn't get the hang of crawling forwards. Eventually, she did. But by then, Vera was cruising around with the support of stools, tables, or whatever she could find. At 10 months, she walked away on her own 2 feet, arms held up high in the air to balance herself. It was clear that the young lady was in a hurry to go places. At 13 months, Becky also made her first faltering step, and her parents uttered a sigh of relief. Becky seemed to draw love from one and all from a very early age. She was soft, cuddly, and pretty, and just plain irresistible. People wanted to touch her, to hold her, and she was quite accommodating. Vera did not want to be held, and the big flashing eyes on her skinny face were restless and tempestuous. Even adults were a little afraid of her. She, however, had one saving grace: her capacity for love. Hers was and would remain a passionate nature. She took nothing for granted. She was completely loyal, and from an early age, her sister was the object of her love and protection. It was her business to see to it that Becky was happy and had everything she needed. She was willing and ready to do battle with anyone who crossed Becky's path, and she was a fearless fighter, although her tears were ready to fall at the slightest provocation. Once, when she was about 5, she almost tore a playmate apart before anyone realized what was happening, because she was screaming at the top of her lungs while pummeling him. The boy remained mute and shocked, and did not or could not utter a sound. He only remembered to snivel a little when they pulled the screaming Vera off him. When the girls were 2, Mark got his long-awaited promotion, and they moved to a slightly bigger house which had an extra bedroom. It was just in time, for Elizabeth was pregnant again and sleeping arrangements were becoming tricky. Their joy was, however, tempered by the fact that, owing to the state of emergency, the country was becoming more and more dangerous even for ordinary people. Between the White Johnnies, that is the British soldiers in World War II, on one side, and the Mau Mau freedom fighters on the other, death could arrive without a warning. It was therefore decided that as soon as the baby was born, Elizabeth would move back to her old teaching job at Allure, where it was much safer, being far from the central region, which was the enclave of the freedom fighters. Aoro, a bouncing baby boy, arrived in the middle of a long dry season, thus his name. When he was 2 weeks old, he was whisked off to Allure with his sisters. When she heard about it, their paternal grandmother was furious. How can you allow that woman to take off with my grandchildren? Is this why they refused to take a bride price for her? So that they could treat us like that? Mother, nobody is trying to treat anyone else like that. It is just that there is no suitable school for her to teach in around here. She can bring the children over during the holidays. Snorted his mother. Mark was almost sorry he had stopped by to see his mother on his way back to Nakuru. Things became very bad, and lorries carrying the dead, purportedly Mau Mau, were a common sight. There was suspicion everywhere, white against black and black against white. The Kikuyu especially suffered greatly and could be shot, maimed, killed or removed at a moment's notice. They returned atrocity for atrocity and blood flowed, both black and white. Mark was very lonely without his wife and children. He particularly missed little Vera's constant chatter, which he had found so irritating before. She had been tireless and irrepressible, but now he would have given anything to hear her say, "Father, why is Mother's stomach so big?" I don't know. Ask her. "Mother, Father wants to know why your stomach is so big." The little Tara knew how to twist everything. There is a baby inside there waiting to be born. Her eyes will then grow as big as saucers. "A baby?" "Yes. Soon you will have a brother or a sister." "Oh, I have a sister already." "Well, soon there will be another one." "How can the baby see if he is in there?" "He sleeps most of the time. Now go out and play with your sister. You ask too many questions." How he missed them all, but there was nothing to be done except stick it out. He, however, became so lonely that he started to spend a lot of time drinking with his friends whenever it was safe to do so. He lay in bed for hours just thinking about them. Only one idea struck him, and he resolved to do it right away. In the morning, he asked for and received permission for emergency leave to go home. Within a few hours, he was boarding a bus and heading west. It had been 6 months. The girls had grown and the boy was sitting up and taking notice. They rushed up and surrounded him, but their mother stood off a little. "You have remembered us at least," she observed, speaking quietly. "Yes, I am sorry. I was kind of busy, but here I am now." "Did you receive my letters? The girls had a bad attack of malaria. I thought Becky would die." He remembered the letter but did not want to try out another excuse. "I got it, but there was no way I could get away. I am sorry," he added lamely. "Why didn't you at least try to console us?" He kept quiet, hoping he wouldn't have to explain himself any further. Fortunately, Elizabeth was not vindictive and held back from further questioning. She only said, "We are all going back together. We are a family, and it is clear that you need someone to remind you of your duty all the time."